This show is packed today. We're going to just get in with it with the red tape. Jay, take it away.
Hello. If you're listening in live for the first time or listening back, here's a part of the show where we lay out some details for you. This is a recorded spaces and is made readily available to listen back to once the broadcast concludes. We run the show for 60 minutes with the first half completely focused on our special guest today. In the second half of the show, we will open up the stage for anyone who wants to come up to ask our guests questions, input on the conversation, give them flowers, anything you guys want to do. Please hit that chat icon on the bottom right, like the room, retweet the space, and drop a comment or question in there as well. We'll be able to, I know not all of you guys are able to come up and speak, so drop your questions, drop your feedback in there, and we will definitely be asking our guests and speaking for you. So lastly, the views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of the positions of any entities they represent. With that, back to you, Boo.
Yo, this is a sponsored space thanks to Stapleverse. We're giving away 3 Sapiens NFTs. You got to retweet, like it, comment, get up in here, be in the space, stay in the space for the remainder of the time. Okay. Let me introduce our guest today. We are super excited to have not only the one, the only Jeff Staple himself of Staple Pigeon with us today. Jeff Staples is a creative visionary with work encompassing graphic design, fashion design, footwear design, and brand marketing. He is the founder of the Reed Art Department, formerly known as Staple Design, and has worked on creative projects ranging from startup brands to Fortune 100 companies. Jeff founded Staple in 1997. They just had their 25th year anniversary. Welcome to the show, Jeff. How are you today?
I am good, but you are better, my man. Thank you both for that incredible intro. I need whatever you're having. It's impressive. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the warm welcome, and I'm gladly accepting flowers. So anyone want to give me flowers, I'm totally down to accept. But thanks for having me. I'm excited to be on.
Thank you for coming, Jeff. So just sit back and relax. My co-host will pin.
Okay.
We'll bring people up. You just sit there and ride with us. We got 30 minutes with you, and then we'll bring people up here from the audience to ask you some questions. So Jeff, why don't you just give us your who is Jeff Staple and how do you? I mean, I've been watching you for 4 days getting ready for this interview, and I've never seen you say or You were just a well-spoken individual.
Good looking out, man. Who am I? I mean, first and foremost, I think I'm just a fan of street culture, sneaker culture, and design overall, especially fashion design. When I say street culture, I think it's worth defining that a little bit. To me, it's like when you tell somebody I'm into fashion, there's still like a whole world of people that thinks that means you like to shop at the Gap and Abercrombie and Fitch. And there's nothing wrong with those brands. Those are fashion brands. But when I say street culture, I'm talking about a level of brands that have a little bit more meaning, have a little bit more nuance. They take more time, effort, and care in the thing that they're making. There's oftentimes like a figurehead behind the brand that you could really get behind and you could really follow their career. And to me, it's born from the streets. I don't make clothes for the runway shows or some multi-millionaire model who has a body size that you're never going to be able to achieve. I just make real shit for real people that live in real streets. And that's what streetwear is all about to me. Sneakers is obviously a big part of that because when you're living in those streets, you're probably stomping the pavement and you need some good shoes. And oftentimes you are expressing yourself through the shoes that you wear. So sneaker culture is a big part of that for me as well. And that's basically what I do, man. And I try to express that through different mediums, right? Like fashion, sneakers, books, magazines, graphic design. And now, as of 2 years ago, this whole universe of digital asset, digital art, NFTs, Web3 and blockchain has opened up to me. So to me, it's like someone just presented me with a brand new canvas and paintbrush that I can get freaky with,
I absolutely love it, Jeff. It kind of reminds me, I looked at your Twitter account. It was formed in 2008. It reminds me when I could slide up in those DMs a couple of years ago, and then this space just opened up, and I'm like, holy shit, it's like Streetwear 3.0 all over again, and I love it that you're here.
Facts, yes.
So we're talking about Sapiens today. That's pre-minting. So if you hold any of Stapleverse NFTs, you can go pre-mint Sapiens. And that's what we're going to talk about. I know that you do a lot of footwear, But I want to talk a little bit about toys. You know, you just released the 25th anniversary Bear Brick with Metacom toys, which I'm a huge fan of. What was that like designing and
Yep.
working with Metacom over the years?
It's a crazy honor because and we've worked with a lot of toy brands, man, and shout out to all of them, like Kid Robot back in the day, Toy Cube, Mighty Jax, and then of course Medicom. Medicom coming from Japan, as you said, you know, they're really like the creme de la creme. They really set it off. Everyone else is kind of like following in the path that Medicom blazed with their Bear Bricks. And thankfully for us, you know, we've been, I mean, last year we celebrated the 25th anniversary of the brand, but we've been, I remember we came out with a 10th anniversary Metacom Bear Brick. So we've been like homies for a long time now. And it's always great working with the Metacom team because they're just so open to creativity. And as you can see, if you Google and use, or someone can put it in the Twitter here for me, but like the latest Metacom that we do is actually hollowed out, and it's sort of like empty on the inside, and then we put like these little pigeons, which is our icon, inside of it. So it's almost like a gumball machine, and you could like shake the Metacom Bear Brick, and like the little pigeons inside shake. So just me like spitting out these crazy ideas and designs and then them actually having the wherewithal to try to do it is just so dope. We have such a great relationship. And of course, you know, if you guys know about the 1,000% Bear Brick, which is like that big bad like sort of 3 foot high Bear Brick, we love doing those too. So like our latest 25th anniversary had that one as well. But yeah, toy culture is massive for me too. I grew up like playing with Transformers, GI Joes, and like Robotech toys. Probably aging myself a little bit, but yeah, I love playing with toys growing up, and now to be able to like design and create toys for adults that you know aren't necessarily for kids to play with. I think it's just like me tapping into my inner childhood. You know.
Yo, I've got another surprise for you, Jeff. We're giving away two Pigeon in Flight by Jeff Staple toys today on the show. 8-inch vinyl art toys powered by For Real, limited edition, sponsored by Tenacious Toys, based in New York City. Thank you, Benny of Tenacious Toys. You're a
Whoa.
collector. You're a geek. I
Woo-hoo.
see that you got. I love it because like you have the sneaker heads there, and they're like, Jeff, these figures behind you, they're really nice. And I'm like, those figures. Those are like some of the most designer toys of our time, man. I love it. Do you know how many toys you've worked on offhand?
I'm gonna say at least 20 different ones. It's a lot. I can't count them anymore. But definitely shout out to that Tenacious Toy contest that's going on. That Pigeon in Flight is really one of my favorites. That I think we're gonna like really turn into a franchise. That shit came out so dope. Really like mixing toy culture and sneaker culture and my logo so perfectly. Like you talk about a Venn diagram of like perfection. That shit is perfect, you know. So definitely shout out to the Pigeon and Flight and Mighty Jax, who is the toy design company out of Singapore that I work with to create that.
Your lore is just incredible. The poop, I mean, it's like on all the toys. There's poop on a Kid Robot toy, there's poop on another toy, and then
Yeah,
you have poop
isn't that
NFTs. And
cool?
it's just like the lore and the storytelling, it all like relates. Like how important is that to bring new people from your spot on here? Because I saw an interview when you're on Complex and the guy was like kind of giving you a little heat about NFTs, and you're like, don't worry, you're coming soon enough.
Exactly. You'll see. I think I said you'll see. You'll see. Yeah, I appreciate you calling that out. What you're referring to, for those who don't know, is like we've been putting like secret little pigeon poop spots on our clothing for like 20 years now. You know, it's kind of like our certificate of authenticity, if you will. Like people were bootlegging Staple back in the day, so we started putting like pigeon poop on stuff because we knew the bootleggers would never put a piece of shit on the clothing. And it was dope. People really fuck with it. Like we have like I remember our early New Era caps. We made official New Era 5950 fitteds, and they were like the official MLB baseball cap. And we would put pigeon poop on the top of it, like where a pigeon would actually hit you with shit. And New Era was like, "Wait, are you for real? You want it to look like someone shat on your head?" We're like, "Yes," and they're like, "All right." And people just love that so much. And now we have the poop gang in Stapleverse, which is like that kind of like poop ideology manifested into a whole storyline and lore. There's a poop gang. There's almost like a DAO that's happening in there. There is a poop lord. We created a character that just like fuck shit up all the time. And for those who know, like you just said, who understand the whole lineage, they can see that this actually comes from a place of authenticity and legacy in the industry. And frankly, for those who don't know, there's a lot of people that are in Stapleverse that never owned a piece of Staple clothing or maybe never even heard of Jeff Staple in their life. They think it's really cool too because it's the first time they're experiencing it and it's a super cool story. So we're getting them from both sides. But I think, a lot of other Web3 projects in particular, because they're so new and they're so cutting edge, they don't have the legacy and the story and the lore. So they have to create it right now. Like they have to create the legacy beginning today, which is also has positives as well, because then you're not sort of chained and held down by anything. But I love the fact that, we've got 25 years of volume behind us, so many stories, so many experiences that we could tap into. And it's honestly, like if you compare the lifespan of Web3, which is, arguably what, 3-4 years old now at this point, versus how long I've been in it, and the well of knowledge, information, and content that we have to tap into, it's pretty limitless. Like we've got a lot of stuff that we could still unload.
Speaking of being authentic, I'm wearing a Staple 25th anniversary shirt from my boy Cameron Smith, one of your photographers. Shout out to my boy. I'm sitting in a pair of Ron English Crocs, who you actually did a Ron English toy with, and you've done Crocs,
Yep.
and I think you're calling Guinness Book of World Records because you have the largest gibbet in the game.
Wow, dude, you just nardwared me. You just like went so deep. How did you know all that shit? How? That's amazing. Good research, man. Um, yeah, facts, and facts. Yo, you're right. We are talking to Guinness Book of World Records. That is true. We created the largest gibbet of all time. Crocs has confirmed that. It's the original pigeon croc that we did that has a huge pigeon claw, like a talon. That's a gibbet. It covers the entire croc. And we're currently talking to Guinness Book of World Records right now about how to certify that. Yes, we've collaborated with Ron English in the past. Yes, we've collaborated with Crocs. Yes, Cam is our photographer who shoots all of our lookbook stuff. Shout out to Cam, world famous. He's amazing. And yes, it was our 25th anniversary. You nailed it on that one, man. Nice one. I'm impressed.
And if you hold the Croc NFT, you can go pre-mint a Sapien right now, because that's what we're here to talk about. Constantly reminding you about Sapiens that is pre-minting today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Next phase of Stapleverse. I'm so excited, and today is the day.
So there's 9 genes that you can't change, but then there's some gear. And boy, am I excited about the gear, Jeff, because you make such incredible IRL garments, and I can't wait to see some of these Sapiens in the flesh and blood.
That's right. I'm glad you realized that. Yeah, what you're referring to in the genes is sort of like the original Genesis iteration of the Sapiens that are going to be coming out. And initially with Stapleverse Phase 1 and 2, we released feed, which is 20 food items that a pigeon in New York City would be seen eating. So anything from like sunflower seeds to nuts to a bagel to a syringe to a subway token. They have all different sort of like artwork and varieties. It's really dope. And then, when a pigeon eats something, they eventually will shit it out. So we released another class of NFTs called the Poop, which I mentioned before with the Poop Gang. And then we have, of course, what we call the hood pigeons themselves. So there was like 3 teams, if you will, in Stapleverse: feed, poop, and pigeon. We also did a couple of special NFTs, such as the Energy Crocs that you mentioned. We did an Energy Fossil Watch one as well. We did a Mirror NFT with Mirror, the Web3 publishing site. So if you have any of those, and if you have Rhymes Like Dimes NFTs, which is the artist that we collaborated with to make Sapiens, you can, for free, pre-mint the next phase of Stapleverse, which is Sapiens, which is our Humans of New York. So we are predicting what New York City will look like 100 years from now. We're calling it New York, and what those citizens will be like in the future, and we're calling them Sapiens. And they're really representative of the people that I grew up with, interacted with, collaborated with, and I get to now imagine what they will be like 100 years from now. And we depicted them with the help of Rhymes Like Dimes through these Sapien characters. As you said, when those mint, they will have gene traits that are attached to them, like skin, hair, eyes, nose, mouth, etc. Those, like your own genes, are embedded into them. You can't change them. But just like in real life, you can cop clothing, items, accessories, sneakers, electronic items, food items. We can even make the sapiens travel. So those things are going to be equipable onto those sapiens, and that's where you're going to be able to really express yourself, just like in real life, you know. And it's next level shit. I'm really really excited about it. So let's dive into it more.
Yeah, I mean, you fully understand that sometimes when you release a limited pair of 150 shoes, some crazy things can happen. So how are you going to keep
Yeah.
the rarity and things like happy with your community with this? Because I know some people get wild, when the metadata changes.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I think like we figured out a way to make the equipable elements of the clothing and items on your Sapiens A, completely gas free, and B, near instantaneous on chain change. So we've found that in other projects, it either you get one or the other, right? It's either you have to pay for gas every time you want to put something on your PFP, and then it changes it on chain, which is cool, but like you don't really want to pay like 10, 20, 30, 40, or $50 to like in gas fees to just add something to your PFP all the time. You know, you're just never going to do it. And which is why, by and large, when you look at people's profile pics, they don't really change, they don't adapt. Whereas you in the real world are still changing on a daily basis. And if you're like a hype beast like I am, you might be changing like 2 times a day or 3 times a day, depending on if you're going to the gym, going to work, going out with your friends. You might change 3 times a day. So why shouldn't your profile pic change along with your mood and your, you know, whatever you're doing? Or other projects are gas free, but then they're not on chain or they're not instantaneous. So they're sort of like you can only look at what you've changed uh, on their proprietary site. You know, so it's not like open source and like people can't see it everywhere, which is limiting as well. So we've sort of bridged that gap now where it's both gas free and it's on chain, near instantaneous, which is really really exciting. I'm looking forward to having people uh, change their profile pics every time I interact with them. I think that's going to be super cool. And this came from this idea of, well, I'll tell you the technology first. The technology is called token bound accounts, which allows for you to now pack other NFTs into your Sapiens NFT. It's going to be the first time that an NFT project is allowing for this technology. Again, it's called TBA, token bound account. And it's so now it's like if you have a Bored Ape and a Zuki, and if you have a CloneX, you can actually pack them into your Sapiens. And now your Sapiens is the holder of these three NFTs and more, hundreds of NFTs if you want. And if you want to sell, trade, or move around that Sapiens NFT, all of those other NFTs will travel along with it, which we think is just super, super dope because it's like it just allows for more expression and more organization of your digital life.
Wow. I highly suggest everybody go
Yes.
and watch the YouTube of the AMA about Sapiens too, because you get really into detail about how every, like, if you've got the Bushwick pigeon, what you can get with it when you pre-mint the Sapien. And, Jeff, you talk a lot about living in the present, not dwelling in the past or the future. Did you give yourself a
Mm.
deadline with Sapiens to launch, or are you just in the present and this was the time to go?
Awesome question. I do have to shout out my team members here who on the Stapleverse team. If it were up to me, I'm a bit of a perfectionist and I want to sort of like constantly doodle on stuff to like make it perfect before it goes out the door. But I remember I was sitting in Singapore at Changi Airport when they called me and I was waiting for my plane to board and they were like, "Hey, we got to launch Sapiens like now, like we gotta go." And I'm like, really, are we ready? You know, I just want to be perfect. And they're like, it's perfect enough, like we can iterate as we go. That's the beautiful thing about Web3, and that's the beautiful thing about having a team that is native to Web3 and thinking about the future versus me who is, you know, I have a knowledge base that spanned decades, and I recognize that there's fault to that because I come from like making fashion brands and sneakers. When you hit go on a sneaker production, there ain't no undo. There's no command Z. There's no edit text. Like you are getting thousands of pairs of shoes on a boat shipped over, whether you like it or not, you know? So like you got to triple check your work. And, you know, I tend to bring that mentality into everything that I do. And my team, you know, my developers, my coders and everything, like they are very like, you know, careful, but also very like, yo, let's shoot from the hip. Let's make something dramatic happen. Let's do something cool and new, and we can fix and iterate as we go. And so I think those two mentalities combined together is what makes Stapleverse and Sapiens so cool.
When I was watching that AMA, in the bottom left corner, I saw these two founders I'm very familiar with. Are you still in a group chat with these
Yeah.
artifact founders? How are the guys doing?
They are doing good. They obviously, you know, are now part of the Nike Dream Team. And I think, you know, we still talk and we still have um, things cooking, I shall say. But no, we still talk a lot and we're on a group chat. And I think one thing that they're really learning is going from and being independents, right? Like being on their own, rogue, renegade, do whatever the hell they want, to the double-edged sword of now being part of a massive, one of the biggest publicly traded companies in the world. And it's just fact, you know, it's a change. You're just going to have to experience that change for yourself and sort of learn the ropes, as you will. Um, I myself was at one point in time offered a full-time position at Nike as well. And I got to look under the hood and get an understanding of what sacrifices were going to be made if I were to join Nike full time. And I decided not to, obviously. I decided to stick with my own brand, and here we are today, right? The rest is history. So I get it. It's cool to be able to talk to those guys because they're young and they're energetic, and you know whatever knowledge I can pass on to them is helpful, and whatever like new innovations and ways that they're thinking is passed on to me, and we always appreciate that sort of symbiotic relationship that we have.
You also dropped out of high school, Parsons, and art school, and you said no to Jordan.
No, I didn't drop out of high school. I graduated high school. I swear, Mom.
Okay, I got
I
that
graduated
detail
high
wrong.
school. I
I'm
dropped out.
sorry, Jeff.
Yeah, I dropped out of NYU, New York University, and then I went to art school, and then I dropped out of art school, which was very, very, very bad for Asian immigrant parents. If any Asians are out there and they have immigrant parents, you know that if you dropped out of NYU and art school, you're pretty much, you know, you're as close to disowned as you could possibly be, which I was. And so yeah, I turned down. You're right, a job at Nike. It wasn't Jordan. Oh, I turned down a Jordan collaboration. You might be referring to that. I turned down a job at Nike and I turned down a Jordan collaboration, which is like probably one of the biggest mistakes I've made in my sneaker career, I would say.
I mean, it's okay. They're gonna come knocking eventually because you know you're in the metaverse now. I think they're gonna they're gonna be like Sapiens. We need to do a collaboration. And like, how is it that you
Yep.
do these collaborations? One thing you said, you've known Bobby Hundreds for a long time, but y'all have never really collaborated, and it's just kind of like things just happen, right? It's like y'all are still friends. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, and actually, this is some alpha for you. Bobby Hundreds is releasing a book. You know, I think it's called NFTs Are a Scam, and I'm actually going to help him launch it in LA next week, together with Betty from Dead Fellas. We're going to be at Barnes and Nobles, which is as Web 2 as you can get, but I think that's pretty funny. But we're going to be launching it together. So yeah, we're homies, we're friends. We love each other and we love each other's brands. And you're right. People are like, yo, why don't y'all collaborate? You're so like close. And it's like, I don't know. You know, other people might be like, and that's what I really respect about Bobby too. Other people might be like, yeah, we got to collaborate. We can't think of anything, so let's just like slap an atom bomb and a pigeon next to each other and call it a day. And you see a lot of collaborations that look like that. They look phoned in. It looks like the collaboration was done like while they were stuck in traffic and on hands free. You know what I mean? And I think Bobby and I just have too much respect for the art and for each other's brand to dare phone in a collab between the Hundreds and Staple. And I think, you know, when we do something, not if, but when we do something, it's going to be pretty fucking monumental. So, like, you know, be patient, y'all. It's going to happen.
One thing that I found fascinating when researching you, Jeff, was that you said something that I relate to so hard, and I'm going to just lean into it now. I'm not an artist. I've never been an artist, and now I can't claim to be an artist because, just like you said, I'm like thinking of timetables, dividends. And as an artist, my fiance and my co-host, she doesn't think about necessarily the price at the end of the journey. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. But I think you could be so artist, yes, you're right. But I think you could be very creative in whatever you do. And I think you are creative, right? Like my accountant or my financial advisor is very creative. Like they design like when I see a really dope retirement plan designed, I'm choosing my words carefully here, right? Like what can be less creative than a retirement plan, right? But when I look at like a retirement plan that my financial advisor created and designed for me, I'm like, yo, this is like dope design the way you did this. I'm not talking visually, I'm talking about the thinking around it. So, like, you could be a creative lawyer, you could be a creative mechanic, you could be a creative, like, electrician. I love watching on YouTube now. I mean, not on YouTube, I watch it on IG Reels. Like, you see people who are like spackling paint, but like the way they like do it is so creative. I just love watching that shit. So I just think creativity can live anywhere. Obviously with artists, but I think just because you're not good with a pen or a paintbrush or a spray can doesn't mean you're not creative. You should look for that creativity in whatever you do.
I love that. I absolutely agree with that. And I love that. I got you for 2 more minutes before I give the audience the mic. Where's your favorite place to people watch, Jeff?
Ooh, great question. I'm gonna have to say it's still Soho, New York City, man. Like Fiat, Houston, right there in the heart of Soho. You just grab a cup of coffee, sit there on the stoop, and you just watch literally the epicenter of the world, walk on by, and it's the best people watching on planet Earth, in my opinion.
Yes. We're based in New York, Jeff. Can I shoot my shot? Can I come to the office? Can I come check the office?
Hell yeah!
Awesome.
I got two offices. You could come to
I'll
both of
slide.
them.
I'll slide in the DMs for sure after this. If
Yeah.
people want to start requesting up to talk to Jeff, ask him a question, throw him some flowers. It's been a great time talking with you, Jeff. I've got plenty of questions to make sure there's no dead air. And yeah, is there anything you want to touch on more about Sapiens? Remind people it's pre-minting right now. It ends at what time
Yep.
tonight?
I don't know, but late. I think it's 9 p.m. I want to say, but just do it now, damn it. But it's super easy. All you got to do is go to Sapiens with a Z at the end, SAPIENZ .xyz, and It's a super beautiful interface that we created for the pre-minting experience. You just need again a Stapleverse NFT, which there'll be a link that you could go out to OpenSea and just cop one, or a Rhymes Like Dimes one. And then from there you get your Sapiens for free, and then more importantly than that, that is your pass into this inner sanctum of Staple, of everything that I'm going to create for the next 50 years. So get ready, buckle up.
Love it. Wizpill, how are you today? You have a question for Jeff?
I sure do, and thanks for hosting and
What up? What
facilitating the
up?
space. By the way, honestly, I've learned a ton so far from Jeff, and congrats on the drop. And my question centered more around the culture of fashion. So if you wouldn't mind entertaining me on that one, I'm a big fan of brands such as Supreme, such as Pink Dolphin. And many
Mm-hmm.
other more Eastern brands, like Korean brands in particular, I'm a big fan of. And I've
Mm.
seen a lot of overlap between the so-called hip hop scene over in the US and that proliferation of, that aesthetic over on the Korean and Japanese and even Chinese side. And I was curious as to whether or not you're leaning into that from a demographic perspective. So are you targeting more so, like Asian Americans, like and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that through your fashion brand?
Super good question. And before I answer it, I do want to say I was just alerted that Sapiens Premium is only open for another 90 minutes. It's an hour and a half. I totally fucked up. It's not 9 p.m. It's actually in an hour and a half. So while you're listening to this, I suggest you hop on and like sapiens.xyz and take care of that right now. So going back to your question, that is a great question. For those who don't know, I am of Asian descent. I was born in America. I'm Asian American. My parents were born in China and Hong Kong, respectively. So I'm 100% Chinese. And I was always grappling with that growing up. To be honest, I grew up in a primarily Caucasian white society. I had to really like what I call assimilate or die. Like you couldn't really like be pro pride Asian back in like the 70s and 80s in a predominantly Caucasian society and expect to like live, like you'd just be bullied the shit out of you like every single day. So I had to like assimilate. When I got a little bit older and got into high school and college, I discovered, as you mentioned, the culture of hip hop, which was like literally saved my life and changed my life. And just adapting and like understanding what was going on in hip hop culture was just so amazing. But again, here was a Chinese kid that was like raised by whites in New York City downtown hip hop culture as it was being born. So now I'm yet again a sort of outcast minority, you know. And then when I discovered my Asian brothers and sisters when I got a little bit older in college, um, I wasn't like Chinese enough for them now because I didn't speak fluent Mandarin and I didn't go to the karaoke clubs and I couldn't play mahjong and shit like that, you know. So I was always like this outcast everywhere. And to answer your question, now when I think about developing my brand and like the fashion element and the staple brand overall in everything that we do, I don't honestly necessarily cater to a particular demographic. Like I don't think, oh, this collection, like it's gonna pop off in Seoul, Korea, or this one's gonna hit in Shanghai or Beijing. um, I think street culture ties all of those regions together. It's non-denominational, non-regional, in my opinion. You know, if you read Hypebeast, if you fuck with Complex and go to Complex Con, if you know if you're into sneakers and collecting, I think it spans language and race and color. In fact, I don't think I know because I travel the world all the time, and like you know, I was just in Toronto, Singapore, Jakarta, Indonesia, all in the last month. And so I'm experiencing street culture in all of these regions. And I can tell you, we all have way more in common than we have differences. So I'm going to like keep hanging my hat on that, just being like a global fashion brand that really rests its hat on street culture versus being regional, even if that means at the sacrifice to my own culture, which I still grapple with at times, like, oh, I should maybe lean into more being Chinese, you know, like China's such a big market, yada, yada, yada. But it's like, it's just not natural for me. I just want to live like on a global level.
This is why I love bringing people up like you, Wiz. Thank you, because like you added a question,
Yes.
like
Great
question, and it's API month, so I appreciate you. You hit it nail on the head.
Yeah, man.
The Alaskan Magpie. Hello, how are you today?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you guys, A, for having the space. Boo, you're always a great host, and thanks for having me up to chat. Jeff, you are an amazing builder, and I've been in your project since I got a fortuitous email in January of last year for a whitelist. Definitely been a holder since then. Shout out to the I'm Feed Gang. I've got myself some coffee beans.
Nice.
I came up with some congratulations and then a quick question to round it out because I'm not trying to take up everybody's time. I appreciate you. I wanted to say congratulations for like since I've been here since the beginning, I've seen a lot of the troubles and issues and just confusion that goes through with this stuff, and you guys are still building here, let alone you've brought something this significant, which is about building up the audience that you have instead of just delivering to them, which is huge. The second congratulations is you've been doing that for 20 years in other spaces, so that's just huge. Like nobody needs to tell you you're successful, but you're successful. It's awesome, and I appreciate you for
Thank
that.
you.
My question now is, having had all of this, like you've built stuff for 20 years, you've been in the space for over a year and a half, all these things. However, if you could do it all over again and had access to the information, skill sets, and talents that you're bringing to your holders now, do you feel like the trajectory would be any different? Or do you feel like, I guess what I'm asking is, if you were yourself now, what would you take most advantage of what you've built for us coming, is my question, I think.
Yeah, great question. I've thought about this and I have the answer. Before I answer though, did you pre-mint? Did you
I'm
pre-mint
going
your coffee
to.
beans?
Apparently, I need.
Good.
I've got my thing. I'm not sure if it's the exact right thing. I'm running a bunch of other stuff that I'm not here to talk about.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I have. If I haven't, I'm going to before the end of the space.
Okay, dope. So yeah, so if I could go back in a time machine 2 years and redo this, um, there was two options on the table when we launched Stapleverse. One of them was to go the direction that we did with feed, poop, pigeon, you know, toss, burn, mechanic, and then drop what we're dropping now. The other route that was on the table, which was very, very popular and prevalent at the time, was the 10K PFP concept of like, take your logo, do 10,000 of them, and just drop them, right? So the option of like, let's just do 10,000 different pigeons and just drop them as a PFP project was definitely on the table. And at the time, I think, and this is just always with me, I always want to like push the envelope and innovate and not do the regular rigmarole. I want to sort of like do something a little bit different. I want to zig when everyone else is zagging. And so we decided to do what we did. I think in hindsight, if there was like, more of like a financial sort of acumen person, like it might have been better to just drop the NFT project as a 10K project when it was hot, get that money, and then be able to innovate beyond and above and beyond that, right? Then again, I think the things that we experimented with and learned with on phase one and phase two were indelible and so helpful. And I think it pushed us. Like for instance, I think here's a really true prediction. I think if we went that route and did the 10K route, we wouldn't have developed token bound accounts now. Like we would have just been resting on our laurels and like, you know, you'd see a lot of pictures of us on a beach on a hammock or a boat. You know what I mean? We'd be like taking a lot more vacations. But because we tripped, we really put our nose to the grindstone and dug and innovated. And out of that innovation came token bound, which is really amazing. Now, as I mentioned before, the ability to be able to pack different NFTs into your Sapiens wouldn't be alive today. So, that's pretty cool. That's a nice silver lining out of that. So no regrets in anything that I did. But yeah, just to answer your question really honestly and transparently, that's the other alternative multi-universe that might have occurred.
Thank you, Magpie. You're always great. Appreciate you coming up. Sir Snapback, what is good, my G?
What up, Boo? What up, Boo? How you doing? What's up, Jeff, man? Thanks for taking the time. Thanks for taking the time to speak to us. I wanted to say, man, along the lines of what Magpie was saying, man, I have so much respect for how you've done everything, because you could have just done the easy, simple, what's going to make the most money and, kind of copycat route. But what you did was completely original. It was thoughtful. It was creative. And, with that comes risk, but with that comes a lot of learning opportunity, which, in hindsight, you definitely got. And so that's something that I've respected from jump. And I think, though, that, a lot of people, everybody says they want like utility out of an NFT project. And like Stapleverse has like the most utility of like any project.
Thank you.
On the planet Earth. I mean, from even being present at big events like Complex Con and speaking with people like Verbal from Ambush, or all the industry connections, or all the connections with major companies like Fossil and Crocs and all, like, I mean, and then the technology, even like literally every aspect, collaborating with other NFT, like you guys have delivered so much freaking utility. It's mind blowing that it doesn't get more recognition to me, because I mean, I think it stands out in this space. Like you said, a lot of people drop, a cartoon picture and then drop another cartoon picture and that's it. And it's like, oh, that's so creative. But what you guys have done is amazing.
I appreciate, these are flowers, by the way. Thank you for the flowers. So greatly appreciate it. And yeah, I mean, I think that all being said, probably the one thing that we are not really good at is like bragging about ourselves and just talking our shit. And I just think it's like, at the end of, we've talked about this internally. Like we're like, we need to talk our shit. Like just we need to say what you said constantly and brag, right? Because a lot of other projects, all they do is blow smoke and brag. And when you actually like call the receipts out and you look, it's like, wait, what has actually occurred other than the fact that like you're just talking a great game? But I think, to be fair, talking a great game is a skill set in and of itself. But I beg the people that are out there in the community to be able to like look past that and be like, who's actually creating and delivering and innovating? And it might not be the loudest voice in the room. It might be the guy in the corner or the girl in the corner that's just plugging away at the laptop. They might be the one that's delivering the most value and most interest, So that's a fault of ours that people aren't noticing as much as other projects, like a blue chip project. Obviously I wish we were a blue chip project, But I think the people that ride with us and the people that came out to pre-mint thus far has shown, just I was blown away. I'm so proud and happy of like all the people that came out to pre-mint, because in this market, I just thought everyone was either asleep or abandoned or they just like deserted it. But like no, they were like, oh shit, something's happening, and they really came out strong. And I'm really looking forward to delivering on everything that you said and more. And maybe we'll get better at bragging, but for now, we're really good at building.
I have a question for Sir Snapback. Did you pre-mint your Sapiens?
Yeah, so I had three. I had three of them. I minted that I've been holding to feed, a poop, a pigeon, and I'm not gonna lie, like, so Sapiens are in my vault, like with my artifact and my most prized NFTs, because they are three of my most prized NFTs. And then when it's like, the whole new contract, like you need to send these over to this contract and give them to them. I was like, hold on, I got to move these to a different wallet before I do that.
Did you? So you did all three?
Yeah, I moved them to a different wallet. I pre-minted all three.
I want you to tell us. Can you tell the audience your experience? Like, how did the pre-mint look, feel, sound? Like, how was it? Tell us, unadulterated. This is not paid. No hashtag ad. Just tell us the truth. You could be critical. I'm here. Tell us what you thought about it.
I thought it was dope. I thought it was an experience, man. I had a little bit of the backstory of, now, like the year that we've come to and kind of the journey that we're going to go on. But I loved how it, like, that whole vibe was right. Like, if you had never heard any of the backstory and you didn't know, like, what was going to happen with Sapiens, it was all, like, executed kind of within that experience. And so that was kind of like the beginning, I felt like, of a journey, like the beginning of this new storytelling. And that's something you've been doing from the beginning, is the storytelling. But I love the experience. I love the music. I love the design. I love the innovation of the contract. Like I said, only thing being having so much experience in Web3. The only thing is I was nervous to send all of my, my tokens over. So I definitely like the first time I did it, I stopped and I was like, wait, I'm not going to do this right now. Let me quadruple check the website. Let me go to the Discord. Let me go to the Twitter. Let me check all the links. And then I still transferred it to a fresh wallet and did it from ended up spending like $50 in gas, which is, the downfall of Ethereum, and ended up sending it over there to a dude. But as a whole, I thought the experience was really, really cool. And I thought it did a great job of starting this journey, starting this story. It's kind of like the prologue chapter of kind of what we're going to be doing. And
awesome.
Along those lines, I wanted to ask you, my question for you, Jeff, was what I wanted to ask was, I know like Stapleverse and Staple are like two different companies. Just like Walt Disney, you got Parks, you got the Parks division, Parks and Cruise division, you got the animation division. Those are two different companies under the same umbrella. And I know Staple and Stapleverse are structured similarly. And so that's a very interesting concept. So I'm kind of interested to hear how you balance, running both of those, and how those two companies plan on, like, they're going to be working together in the future, and kind of how all of that is working going forward.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Staple is a brand that I started 25 years ago. It's a fashion brand. We also do awesome collaboration. Stapleverse is everything Web3 NFT enabled. I set it up as a separate company because there's not a lot of overlap in terms of like points of expertise. People who like can sew buttons really well on a jacket don't really serve any purpose in a Web3 company, and people who can code and do amazing jobs on Discord don't really translate that well into a fashion brand. So it's kind of had to be set up separately. But now I'm merging them together and trying to figure out like ways that they can sort of take benefit from one another. You know what I mean? Like just really be advantageous to each other's existence. And you mentioned Disney and with the parks and everything, but I'll give you an even better example. How about Nike and Dot Swoosh? Right? Like Nike is a traditional footwear brand. Dot Swoosh is their sort of like Stapleverse, if you will. And Nike's the biggest footwear brand in the world, 10x, one of the biggest brands in the entire world, irrespective of industry. And like you still can't go on Nike.com, token, gated, enter your wallet, and then start like getting shoes. Like even they haven't merged it together yet. So it's like, give us time. We're all going to get there. I would like Nike to go first so that they can make mistakes and then I can watch them and then I can go. But I may look big and sound big, but I am way smaller than Nike. So like, let's let like the behemoth go first and like get their fingers burned, because it won't do much damage to them. And I'll learn from them. But in the meantime, we are linking it together. We've been building it. If you've been in the community, you see the perks of like getting sales early, drops early, exclusive product, exclusive colorways. We've been doing it. We've been experimenting. Some are token gated, protected. Some are password protected. Some is a secret link. So we're trying all these different things out. And I got to say, I really appreciate the whole community, like just experimenting with us and giving us constructive feedback along the way, because it's helping us make a better product, but we're going to figure it out. We're going to get there. And I'm hoping for in the very, very near future, a seamless world where, just like I said to that guy on Complex, like you're not even going to realize you're using blockchain and Web3. It's just going to be the norm. You're just going to go shopping. You're going to experience. You're going to learn a new skill, all because of this digital element that you have in your wallet. But we're not even going to call it NFTs and crypto, and it's just going to be like the thing. It's just going to be breathing. I'm looking forward to that reality.
Yo, before I go to Adzi, please retweet the space. We're giving away 3 Sapiens that's pre-minting now. I think it's like, since we've been talking, maybe 60 minutes left to go and pre-mint, right? And Adzi, what's up today?
Yep. Nothing much. How fuck? I'm too stoned right now. But how are you, mate?
We're good. Do you have a question for Jeff Staple today?
Yeah, I do, Jeff. I just wanted to ask: are there any future NFT collections that you would like to collaborate on with Sapiens?
What up, Adzi? Adzi, unmute.
Oh no! Did you not hear him? He wanted to ask what.
Oh, I can't hear him. Yeah, I couldn't hear him at all.
I'll repeat it for him. It's all good. Adzi asked, "What collaborative projects do you want to collaborate with Sapiens?"
The list is long, and I feel like everyone's counting my syllables to see what kind of alpha I'll release. I'm trying to think of one that I can say that won't lead to stuff. I'm gonna have to plead the fifth on this one. There is a list of damn near 24 projects, brands, and creators that we are going to collaborate with. They're all amazing wish list type people. So I'm gonna plead the fifth, man. I'm not gonna leak anything right now. Just be patient and hold on, and you're just gonna see the rolling thunder begin to happen.
All right, great. My co-host said she couldn't hear Adzi either. This is Rug Radio. We stay on brand. I don't know who came up first, if it was Alt, if it was Hodl CEO, if it was Quinn, but then Wiz raised his hand. What do y'all want to do?
I'll try and take this one because my question is real fast. It's dealing with the intersection of the fashion world and the social media world. A platform I know a lot of people use and sell on is Depop. And I was curious to know your thought, Jeff, from a brand founder perspective. Do you see anyone else try and venture into platforms such as Depop? Because I feel like it's a very untapped ecosystem. And more importantly, people that are very big on Depop, they're also big on TikTok. And what that means effectively is that you have twice the reach in terms of the marketing potential. So I wanted to hear your take on that.
Unfortunately, I'm not really too well versed in Depop. I know what it is. My friend is actually one of the executives over there, but I've never personally played with Depop or been on it. So this will be a very quick one. I don't have much to comment on it because I just don't know.
I see. Well, to give you some proper context, as far as numbers goes, there are accounts on there that have anywhere between 20,000 followers to over 100,000 followers, and we're talking sales that are anywhere north of a couple thousands a month to tens of thousands a month. So clearly, they got a whole small business kind of vibe going on over there. And do you feel like that these sorts of numbers can tie into Web3 in some capacity?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's, I love the idea that anybody could just open their closet up essentially in their wardrobe and start a business out of it. So I think the idea that someone could have an access to that curator could definitely be enabled by Web3, and powered by Web3, because they could also have sessions where they sort of have a collection that is going to Depop, but then if somebody holds one of their NFTs, it's a special area of their wardrobe that they only show to them or something like that. So I think the same thought process that you would apply to an NFT project or like a brand like mine could be applied to Depop as well.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yo,
Yeah.
I got a random question to change it up. Jeff, what is your favorite Star Wars character since it's May 4th and all?
I'm gonna have to say Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm giving Obi-Wan Kenobi vibes, I think. I'm like an elder statesman in the culture, but still everybody knows that even though Obi-Wan is like gaining on his ear, you still don't fuck with him. He'll still like kick your ass anytime.
I love that. I'm always like an R2D2 guy because he's just kind of consistent and solid,
I love it.
I gotta go pick up a couch later in the city. Where's a good spot you're eating right now? What's your favorite spot to grab food in the city right now?
Let's see. Scars Pizza, man. You got to go downtown, Lower East Side, and get yourself a slice at Scars.
And then you'll see pigeons walking around. And then there's a detail that I missed out, y'all, but I want to go back to it. If y'all are a poop holder and you go and pre-mint a sapien right now, the poop will go inverted, apparently, because Jeff like knows that when you poop or something, it goes inverted, like something crazy like that. It's nuts.
Yeah, exactly. There's definitely a special perk if you're a poop holder and you go and pre-mint. So definitely scoop up some poop off the floor and go and pre-mint in the next 60 minutes if you can.
Huddle CEO, are you down at Scars right now getting pizza for all of us?
I just hopped out. I'm on my way. Jeff, what's up, man? You're an icon. It's
What up?
amazing to be here talking to you. Growing up, I was a big SB guy, and I skated all of them. So it's a good thing I never got my hands on your pair, because that would be a real big regret. Yeah. But man, your story is amazing. All of your tips for us today were great, and I just want to say thank you for being like an icon and like always pushing forward and being creative and just being inspiring.
Oh, thanks, man. Thank you, man. Thank you so much just for coming up and saying that. That means a lot. And it also, quite frankly, means a lot that in this community, shout out to you, Boo, and Rug Radio, just for allowing this platform that like you can even just come up and say that and I can receive it. That in and of itself is a very beautiful thing that wasn't really possible before. It's only possible here in this world, so that's really dope.
I love it. And Hodl CEO has been in this scene a long time. He doesn't even want to tell you how much Bitcoin was when he was buying it. So for him to come up here and give you flowers, I love it because we've seen a lot of grifters from, certain scenes come up in here. And Jeff is not one of those grifters. So again, we got 5 minutes to go. You guys, I keep this laser focused. You know this. If you got a question for Jeff, now's the time to ask it. JPEG J, you had your hand up first.
Hi, Jeff. I was really, really feeling what you were saying earlier. So I'm from Hong Kong. I grew up there 18 years. So like what you're saying about assimilation and like feeling the pressure to like, oh, should I do more Chinese stuff? Should I not? I totally feel it like on a day-to-day basis. But first of all, whenever I see like a Hong Kong person doing something culturally significant, like toys, art, fashion, like you, Jackson Wang, Michael Lau, like all of these people, I feel super, super energized. And just for the record, I also went to art school, and only after I graduated did I realize that like the only right way to do it is actually to drop out. So you actually did it like the right way. In fact, like I went to the same school as like Neckface, right? And he's the one who told me, oh yeah, I dropped out, and that was the last straw because every artist that I talked to that I respect as fuck dropped out of art school. What the hell?
There's a running theme, isn't there?
Oh, totally. And then, I lived in New York for like 13 years. And really what you were saying about participating in the city and like feeling like you had like a home there, it was through hip hop. And then, for me, I really felt like that when I started doing graffiti, right? And what's special about this is that these are parts of culture that people participate in because they really mean to, right? It's not like you were put in it in school. It's not like you were born that shade or anything like that. You mean to be part of it, which is what's special about this space too, particularly. And I think that like the amount of love and the amount of like encouragement and positivity that we're getting here, like I really respect you tremendously for taking on a leadership role in this community.
Thanks. And I want to add one thing. The other thing about creativity and art, what you said, is the other reason why people do it or not do it is because like they would do it even if they weren't getting a check for it, right? Like you would be doing what you're doing even if they said, "Hey, you're not going to make another penny doing this for the rest of your life." You'd still do it. Like it's because we actually love doing it, you know? And same thing with like web3 and NFTs. It's like to me, as I said earlier, this is a new canvas for me. This is a new paintbrush for me. If if some like if an Obi-Wan Kenobi came to me tonight and said, "Jeff, you will not make a penny. I guarantee you, you will make no money in NFTs." I would be doing NFTs tomorrow. I don't give a fuck because it's fun. I get to do whatever I want digitally. I get to story tell, write lore, create shit. I don't have to worry about minimum order quantities, logistics, shipping, warehousing, 3PL, purchase orders, accounts receivable, accounts payable. I just get to create shit digitally. It's so much fun. I love the community. I love talking to you guys. So you know what, Obi-Wan? I would do this shit for free. So fuck off.
Yo, I love it. Jeff, do you have some time to go over?
Yeah,
All right,
I'm
let's
good.
rock
I'm good.
it.
This is
Alt,
fun.
you had your hand up next.
Hey guys, thanks. Sorry for the noise. I'm on the road, but wanted to chime in, give Jeff some flowers, as it were.
What up,
Yeah,
Alt?
you definitely rock. You definitely rock. How you doing, buddy? You definitely rock the Obi-Wan vibe. Like you're always zen. You bring this positive energy, no matter whether it's like a space or one of your like live chats or in a real event, painting it with Feywo, whatever. It's like you always bring it, and I always
Thank you,
appreciate
bro.
that. And that passion, like definitely like seeps into your work. And I want to say that the minting process was beautiful. It was sleek and smooth. I really enjoyed it. And I love this budding ecosystem that you're building. Like it's an inspiration to the rest of us that are trying to create. And I feel honored to be a part of your community. And I'm so glad that you took that route of not following everyone else's footsteps and kind of doing your own thing, innovating and experimenting to push those boundaries. Like it does a lot for the space. And I'm really excited to play further with like this new standard that you guys created. Like I think like this new evolution of the user experience finally changing, right? Like is going to play a big part. So I can't wait to see kind of where the next chapter goes for everything.
Hell yeah. Appreciate you so much and everything that you're doing to spread the word to the clones community. You know, like I think down the line, CloneX and Sapiens are going to be best of friends.
Oh, I love to hear that.
Let's go. Thank you so much, Alt. It's good to hear you out on the road. He stays busy. Quinn, how are you today?
I'm great. Thanks, Boo, for bringing me up. I just wanted to, Jeff, give you more flowers, man. What you just said about, like you love this, no matter what amount of money you would get paid, you'd still be doing this, man. Like that's the heart of this culture, I'm telling you. And it's needed more than ever in this. I don't call it the bear economy. It's the builder economy. And so I'm so grateful for you to be here. But I do have a question. And thank you so much for being here and being involved with, with this community, and shout out to all the clones in the crowd too. But Jeff, my husband and I, shout out to NFT Button. We had such a great time at your activation at NFT NYC last year in 2022. Just wanted to see if you guys had anything in the works for any IRL activations in the near future. It was so fun, so well done, and it was just a really great way to meet other people and connect with some other like-minded individuals in the community.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you know this, but I'm actually going to be a speaker at VCon in a couple of weeks. So I'm definitely looking forward to any Stapleverse heads that are descending on Indianapolis for that. We're going to do some meetups. We're going to hang out. I'm going to be one of the featured speakers. I know Bobby Hundreds will be there too. I know Mintage Crew will be there. So it's going to be a good gathering of folks. And I'm looking forward to always meeting people in real life. So VCon is next up for me on the never-ending global tour stop.
Thank you, Quinn. Couples who Web3 together stay together. Sneak Heads, how are you? We're going to let you have the last question.
Oh, wow. Boo, thanks so much. Great to be with you all. I've really enjoyed this space, and it's a real honor, Jeff, to chat to you, or should I call you Obi-Wan? If no one's bought your book, Not Just Sneakers, I highly encourage everyone listening in this space and to the recording to do so.
Thank you. Thank you for shamelessly plugging for me, so I didn't have to plug my own book.
And that wasn't primed, by the way, anyone.
No.
I mean, it's one of the best design books that I've ever bought, and I've bought a good few in my time.
Thank you.
You know, that old phrase does what it says in the tin. This book says on the front, Jeff Staple, not just sneakers, and it's absolutely not just sneakers. If you want to get to feel like you've met young Jeff growing up in New York, you know, the storytelling, the sketches that you've done when you were a lad, it's just phenomenal, really inspiring for anyone that is even remotely interested in creativity, building a brand, storytelling, the fact that you start it with a long time ago in the Lower East Side. I don't really have any. I don't really have any questions. I've just got a bunch of statements. One of them is just thank you. The other one is that you've done the impossible. I grew up in London, and pigeons are not creatures that people like. If anyone's been to London,
Right.
you understand that. And yet, somehow, with your skill and storytelling, you have rebranded the pigeon. I think one of the posters in your book is. Pigeon, man's new best friend, and you've rebranded pigeons, so you've kind of done the impossible.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the book love, man. I mean, like, honestly, I made that book at the same time that I was building Stapleverse and also doing the collaboration with Artifact. So it was so like mind blowing, literally like splitting my mind in half to be on the one hand creating a book with Rizzoli, which is one of the most historic, storied, old school, like Italian bookmakers in the world, and then Artifact, like these crazy mofos changing the future, like in the same day. It was like so crazy, but I managed to do it. But thank you for the love on the book. I do recommend that anyone who wants a career in any creative art or profession, there's a lot in it for you. It's called Jeff Staple, Not Just Sneakers. And thanks to your love, it's probably #1 on Amazon by now after that statement. So definitely appreciate you for that one. But yeah, it's an honor to be here, and it's an honor to keep sharing with y'all, whether it is in old school book form or in future, digital form. I hope to just be sharing.
Jeff, I will give you a pat on the back for holding the book back to make sure Artifact got in there. Thank you for that, because it is very historic.
Yeah,
when I first found it, I kept telling everybody it's exit through the metaverse, like, the gift shop, it feels like just that all over again. And if you're here, these are the people that they'll be known 10 years, 20, 30 years from now, and nothing can stop this besides an asteroid or the planet blowing up, right? But Jay, I think we're ready to do the giveaway, right? We've done the retweets, we've done the likes, we've kept Jeff here over 4 minutes. Pre-minting for Sapiens is going. If you hold any former Stapleverse NFT, you can go pre-mint right now. It'll be airdropped to you 2 weeks later after you pre-mint. It's a great experience. You add your NFT and then the soul goes into the little body. It's really good, really slick website.
Yeah.
Jeff, it's been awesome having you up here. Things I need to add to my buy list are a waterproof notepad in the shower. That is some alpha, my guy. You want to give us the second to last word before we close this on down? Jay, am I rushing? Are we good?
No, we're good. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So if you could give us the second to last word, and I'll close this on down, Jeff, that would be great. Thank you again for the opportunity and time, and everybody for coming.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. If you followed me from day one, thank you for just witnessing the progression that I've been trying to build and the story that I'm trying to tell. I really appreciate y'all. And if you're just discovering me and Stapleverse right now, today's day one, have fun. That's all I can say. And also, reach out to other community members, because they're going to school you on everything that we're doing better than I can. As you can hear just from all the people that have given me flowers, I feel amazing. I'm going to have a great rest of my day now. Definitely, I think we got maybe 30 some odd minutes left. Sapiens, SAPIENZ.XYZ. Go there and just get yourself this incredible art that's going to offer just, fast pass into my brain, basically. That's what's going to happen with Sapiens. So go out there and get that, and appreciate you guys too at Rug Radio. Boo, Jay, it was awesome. You guys did an incredible job hosting. Super professional stand-up. This is amazing. Thank you all.
Thank you, Jeff. Jay, I guess we'll contact those winners, or do you want to announce them right here so people know we're legit?
I have to contact the winners. I'm sorry.
She's pinning, she's plugging, but you guys, if you've been watching, listening, this is episode 29. We keep it honest, we keep it truthful. jump in our DMs. Let us know what's going on. Tune in next week, same day, same time, Thursday evening, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right? With me and my amazing co-host, JPEG J, for another episode of In Web 3. I'll catch y'all later. Have a good evening. In Web 3.